Endgame now.
You know I got it with that. Everybody, welcome to the much anticipated, just like the movie, they anticipated our review as well. The much anticipated Avengers Endgame review. Spoilers and non-spoiler review. At this time, Blake has seen the movie once at 6 o'clock yesterday, which you'll be seeing clips of us in the theater in about 10 minutes. We'll put up timestamps probably down in the comments of when you can skip if you want to check that specific thing. In the description, yeah, below. I'll put a big list of timestamps. As well as this, I have seen the movie twice now already. I've seen the movie twice. So I'm going to be giving you some deeper input that maybe other people haven't given you yet because they missed those little Easter eggs, you know? So Blake's got his notes here. I got my notes in my head. Without farther ado, let's get into the non-spoiler free sections. This is going to be operating in two parts. The second part, which is going to be probably after maybe the 10-minute mark, again, check the timestamps below, is going to be all spoilers. So if you don't want to see the spoilers, you're going to click off that video at the timestamp below. And we'll also tell you when the spoilers are coming up. Pretty much click off the video once you see the clips of us going to the theater. But before this, we're going to do the non-spoiler free part where we're just going to tell you basically if you should go see the movie, if the movie was good, if the movie was bad, and we're going to let you know stuff without spoiling it for those of you who want to get a little bit more insight before going down to the theater and paying the money to go see Avengers Endgame. We got our set decorated. Well, it's not really decorated.
I mean, we printed out these two cool pictures.
Yeah. So without further ado, let's get into the non-spoiler free part.
So, what's your opinion? Do you think Endgame topped Infinity War?
Yes. I'm just going to say it right off the bat now, and you're going to hear me say this multiple times throughout the thing. Endgame is the cinematic event of the century. You have to go see this movie in the theaters. You have to go see this movie with people. You can't just go see it by yourself. It loses part of the effect of the movie. This movie is a combination of 22 movies, and I have to say, every time, Joe and Anthony Russo, those two directors, they know how to properly lay out a story from beginning to end amazingly. Every single movie they've done, never flopped. Great movies.
And I will also say, normally, always an Avengers scene, it's super heavy on those super CGI and intense action fight scenes. But actually, I'd say the most prominent scene and aspect of the movie was the emotional parts. From the calamity that happened in Infinity War, the snap, and people trying to deal with that and stuff, and just so many emotional scenes. But with the emotional scenes, that doesn't take over the entire movie. There's still your good bit of comedic and comedy,
like all Avengers movies.
And then you got your amazing set of action scenes that are well chosen. Not a ton, but the ones that are there are really well done, really good.
And then also, without that, this is a complete love letter to the Marvel fans. There's no doubt about it. This movie, it's the last closing movie for the original Avengers. It's the closing movie for Phase 3. So it's the end of an era, and it's definitely a complete, you're feeling the emotion of everything coming to an end. Hence the name Avengers Endgame.
We always like to go on opening night, right? We saw Avengers Infinity War last year on opening night, and we had to see this movie on opening night. I just feel if you see it opening day, or even technically we went the day before the specified world's release. We went on April 25th instead of April 26th.
And we were with the die-hard fans of this movie. There's no doubt about it.
Someone walked in later on you'll see, I think, in the video clip, someone had a briefcase with a Tesseract and an Infinity Gauntlet.
Yeah. Almost everybody was wearing at least like a Marvel t-shirt or something like that. People wearing like, you know, Captain Marvel jackets, stuff like that. Like, it was all diehard Marvel fans.
And just, even if you're not a diehard fan, or like, you're like, oh, you just want to go see it because your friends invited you or stuff like that, it's such an experience. The experience and atmosphere is so much better on opening night, because when something amazing or super exciting happens, everyone in the theater will cheer and start to clap, and it's like, it feels so good, and like it makes you feel like you're a part of something so big, which you are. Like, or Marvel is a worldwide thing now.
Yeah, or something bad happens and everybody goes, oh, or like everybody like gasps or something like that. Like, it's a complete experience in itself just to see the movie with an audience that's been dedicated for the last 11 years or 22 movies.
I mean, I think some of the fans even longer than that when they were reading the comics as kids. Obviously, we have
MCU. You're talking about the MCU, like people who've been around ever since the MCU existed.
And obviously, to most people, this isn't a spoil, because I think Marvel announced this themselves, that sadly this is the first Marvel movie without an end of credit scene.
Yes.
I guess they felt it was better and more right to end off the era, end off this saga, end off this journey without an end of credit scene.
Well, and also there's not, there's nothing really to tease necessarily.
I guess.
Like, they ended off this whole segment.
It's just disappointing.
And it is disappointing. Like, we waited 15 minutes for the end of credit scene, and there was no one. There wasn't a one. But we'll talk about in the spoiler part a really good tribute that they did have to all the actors at the end of the movie, kind of instead of an after credit scene.
The one thing I will say, it's not giving away plot, but the only downside, I think, one of the only downsides that's spoiler free, I think, is just mainly like the first 10-15 minutes, because obviously it's starting from from Infinity War, and you gotta wrap up the loose ends and figure out where all your characters are and what's going on with them. So it starts off just a little bit slow, but understandable and necessary.
Yeah.
And after that first 10-15 minutes, it picks up and it just keeps going.
And again, as we said, like, Joe and Anthony Russo, they know how to tell a story. And like, even you could talk about Infinity War. Infinity War didn't start off super fast. Thinking back to it, and I feel like some movies get that wrong, that it's kind of just supposed to be action throughout the entire movie. And at that point, you kind of start to become sick of it. Like, the Avengers movies have always nailed it down perfectly, that they have a perfect balance of action, emotion, and comedy all together in one movie. So it's like enjoyable for almost any person, any audience that wants to come see the movie, even if they're not invested in the characters.
All I have to say before unless you have anything else to say, but all I have to say before we hop into the spoiler aspect of this is, it's just scary, the ending of this saga, and the ending of the main spotlight being on the original Avengers, and now it's going to other smaller characters or other newer groups and stuff like that are going to be in the spotlight.
And scary to think what's going to be next.
Yeah. And also, like, the creator, the man himself, Stan Lee, passing away earlier this year, and him not being there to be on the sidelines or guide the Marvel movies anymore. So
this movie definitely had, the last Stan Lee cameo in it, and I think it was filmed before he passed away, so it was like more of a solemn movie in general. But I mean, part of that kind of took in a bit of the feelings that people may have had with the passing of Stan Lee at the same time, which kind of helped bring the whole movie together wrapped in one. So it was kind of a nice nice touch, you know. And there was also the touch that they did at the start of Captain Marvel to Stan Lee as well. So without further ado, now we're gonna play the clips of us going to the movie theater and checking out the movie. If you guys don't want a single spoiler, you can't deal with any spoilers or the chance of maybe getting a small spoiler, you should probably not watch these clips. I would say click off the video, go watch Endgame, come back, watch the rest of our part, watch our reactions, continue watching the video. So I'll probably put a subscribe and a like here because this is almost kind of like the half end of the video, and then we're going to get into those big clips right there. So without further ado, check out some clips of us in the movie theater seeing Marvel's Avengers Endgame, the end of an era. Okay guys, it's finally here. Endgame. This is Blake's pre-sad face.
Huh? Oh.
See,
No, I hope it's not gonna be
when we
sad.
come back from like the after credit scene, Blake's just gonna be like bawling his eyes out over here. He's gonna be like,
No.
they killed Groot.
No. Definitely not.
Debatable.
Groot's already dead, isn't he?
Groot?
Yeah, Groot's done.
Well,
he's already
he's
dusted.
got dusted. See, in the wake of Thanos' dusting, what you need to do is you need to get your broom ready.
Your broom? Yep.
Yeah,
Indeed.
a lot of sweeping.
Oh, plenty.
Plenty of sweeping.
So,
Yeah,
is
yeah,
this
yeah.
the type of thing I should wear over my glasses?
Yeah.
Yes, Eric, yes.
Okay. Do I look stupid?
That's the, oh, I don't know. Look, tell the good people on WBTV right now how you look.
I think I look stupid.
That's pretty high. What are you doing, Keith? Blake, we need you to bring back some saneness to this video. Keith is...
Some sanity?
Yeah, oh, let's show the good folks what you're making there.
Huh? Oh, we're crafting up.
See,
Avengers
I posted
Endgame.
a really bad Endgame thing on my Snap, and I think I'm gonna have to take it down now and make a better one.
I know, right? I was just about to say it's far. So what do you gotta do?
What?
Kigo's
No,
got
Keith's
fuzzy
fuzzy
peaches.
peaches, yeah.
What you gotta do, you gotta take a sip. And you gotta put your ear up to it. And that makes a gurgling sound, you know?
No. You ready for this, Blake? Are you ready for this movie?
Very.
Very?
Yes. Very
Very
ready.
ready. Me and Blake believe in the Iron Man theory, but I don't know if it's gonna happen or not. We are believers.
15.
Theater, massive, guys, massive theater, massive theater,
Yeah.
massive.
Got around 15
We're
minutes.
ready. 15 minutes?
Yeah.
Well, it starts at 6.
No, but before we go to the wash.
Where are you going?
Oh. We're going a group convoy to go take a piss.
I already
All at the
did.
same time, piss convoy.
No.
Eric's like, shut
We're gonna
up.
have a family reunion in the washroom, buddy.
Family reunion in the washroom.
It's a little weird. I got the ultimate snack. What we got?
The shit nachos.
Nah, they're not shit.
Look, we literally made a skit about how you shit out your nachos every day.
They're still delicious.
But you shit them out.
In the meantime, when we go to the wash, I could probably just throw this in the garbage.
Yeah. So guys, the theater's starting to fill up.
Yeah.
We'll be back just before the movie. And then we'll be back after the movie. We'll be back after the movie.
Okay, yeah, sure.
After the end credit scene. How good the end credit scene is. How Blake the end credit scene is. What do you think there, broski?
Really good.
Really good. Good as fuck. What do you think, Eric? What do you think, asparagus, Eric? Ketchup Kigo? Good?
Good, bud, good.
Good, good, good? Good, are you good? It's amazing. This tribute that they're doing right now is pretty cool. Pretty cool. Shut up, HQ. I got a more important shit to do.
Yeah, it was insane.
It's
I'm
like
just trying to jot
no.
down
See,
all
I'm
my
actually
thoughts
happy
for
that
the
we're doing the
review.
review tomorrow because like I wouldn't be able to talk about it right now.
Yeah.
I am like so much in shock. Guys, it's coming up after credit scene. We'll be back. Yeah. Broski's got his Infinity Gauntlet over here.
He's
broski over here. He's got his whole Infinity Gauntlet. It's pretty hype, What do you think, guys? What do you think? What would you rate it out of 10? Best Avengers movie ever
99.99999.
made.
What, it's not a 10?
Nope, never be. Never can be.
Wait, but if it's a 99, then that's more than a 10. You mean 9.999?
Yeah, best Avengers movie ever made.
It was great.
It was great. They couldn't have done anything better to tribute to all the years that they have been doing this.
It was great.
Blake's got to write down all his notes.
Yeah, because we're doing the review the day after we watch this. The day after we've watched it, so I need to write down all my initial thoughts. Halfway through the movie, my brain turned on and I'm like, wait a minute. Reviews tomorrow. I need to actually write some stuff down that we want to review. So my brain, everything I saw something cool, I'm like, ooh, I'm gonna think about that. Ooh, I'm gonna think about that. So I'm trying to remember all the stuff I thought about and write it down.
See, now I don't have to write footnotes because I can just use Blake's.
Nah, screw you. And you get to watch it tomorrow. So you can,
I'm watching it. I get to watch it just before we do the review again.
Exactly.
So now I can
Exactly. So you can correct me if I get certain things
or
wrong.
pick up on things that we missed.
Yeah. Hey, John Blake.
Like I missed the Stan Lee part like a tad. I didn't catch what he said.
What do you mean?
I saw Stan Lee, but I didn't catch what he said.
I didn't see him. Where was he?
He was in the when they went back to the military base. There was Stan Lee. He was in the car. He was a taxi driver.
I forget what he said. Something about
See, I was an idiot and thought Hank Pym was Stan Lee.
Blake was like, that's Stan Lee. That's.
I'm like, no, it's Hank Pym.
Yeah. But
I thought it would have been cooler if
Joan
Stan
Anthony.
Lee was at the funeral.
That would have been pretty cool.
They were like, who are you? And he's like, oh, just the guy who started this whole, something like that. I don't know.
I mean, in the Fantastic Four movies, he's trying to get into the wedding and they won't let him in.
Yeah.
His name's not on the list and he's like, what are you talking about? I created this person. Anyways, guys, so we'll see you on the couch tomorrow for the Avengers Endgame review. Spoilers coming up right after this.
Okay, so I hope you guys enjoyed those funny clips. As you can see, we were I think everybody in the theater was kind of in the same way.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw it again with my sister, and I had already seen the movie. So as soon as I got out, I was like, I want to hear what... But she was kind of feeling we were just speechless. Absolutely speechless.
Mm-hmm.
This movie was so good and so perfect that it just left you speechless. You didn't know what to say.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't know what to highlight. And you didn't want to say it, especially because when we were walking out of the theater beside us, people were going in. So you wanted to...
Yeah. Halfway
keep
through
it
us
down.
talking about it and walking out, we're like, oh wait, there's people around that haven't seen it. We should probably quiet down.
Yeah.
So. But this is the spoiler zone.
Spoiler, yeah.
It's
Spoiler zone.
time, so none of that.
Yeah.
None of that anymore. So I guess one of the interesting things that caught my eye at the very start was how it went through and showed all of the developments, of all of the different characters. How Thor had lost all of his dignity and honor, and he got super lazy and super fat, and became an alcoholic.
But even before that, what I thought was a really good way to start the movie was with Hawkeye's family being dusted.
Oh,
I thought that was a really good way to start the movie because it kind of tied the two movies together.
Mm-hmm.
Even though they're two distinct standalone movies, it tied the two movies together in a way that we hadn't seen tied together before. Before we talk about that, at the start of the movie, there was a big shocker, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because you thought that the whole movie was going to be them fighting Thanos.
Yeah.
And then when they found Thanos, he had destroyed all the stones, and then they just killed him.
Yeah. Thor was super angry.
Yeah.
And they had him in a lock, and Thor cuts off his hand and then decapitates him.
Yeah.
So, in the first 5 minutes of the
Yeah.
movie,
Thanos
they've
is
already
dead.
killed Thanos.
I mean, which I think did a different like thing to the movie, right? Because it kind of like put you in a false security. Like you're like, okay, Thanos is dead, we're all good.
Yeah.
But then really, like I leaned over to Blake and I was like, in the back of my head, I'm like, he's gonna come back. Like if they need to go back in time to save the other people, Thanos is obviously gonna come back. So it kind of, in a way, it was an interesting way to do it, and it was definitely something that like the fans would never expect to happen, which I think gave it a bit more of a help to push the movie forward. And then it went big Endgame intro, and then we went to the 5 years later jump.
Yeah, and then there's like the 5-year gap
Yeah,
where they're lost.
yeah,
They don't know what to do. The Infinity Stones are gone. They don't know how to bring everyone back. They don't know what to do. They're lost. So,
and the world's kind of trying to move on, I guess.
yeah. I mean, the world's trying. The entire universe
Is trying to
is
move
probably
on, yeah.
trying.
Live life without like half the people being dead.
And some people are successful with that. Like, as one of our Avengers, Tony actually moves out to a cottage with Pepper Potts, and they have a kid.
Which was kind of almost connecting the two movies because Tony had said at the start of Infinity War that he wanted to have a kid. And then she was like, "No, Iron Man." And then he was like, "Yes, Iron Man." And then, you know.
And then he went to space.
Yeah.
And then the snap. And then he's like, "No Iron Man, baby time."
Yeah.
You know?
Baby shark doo 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 doo.
No. Before, as I was saying, Thor obviously didn't take it as well and blamed himself. Hulk blamed himself, but he didn't let himself loose like Thor did. Hulk actually decided to take this to train his mind, to train his body, to become one with the Hulk, basically, because he used to think, as he said in the movie, he used to think as Hulk as a disease or a virus, but now he's looking at it as Hulk as a cure for his weakness. So he's able to keep that Bruce Banner mind while he's in the body of Hulk, and you get like Smart Hulk.
Yeah.
So that's really
Smart
cool.
Hulk was a very interesting. I enjoyed Smart Hulk throughout the movie. It wasn't really expected, right? Because the entire first movie, there was no Hulk.
Yeah.
So then you didn't expect really to see Hulk that much in the movie, but then you got like
In the entire
overloaded
movie,
with Hulk. Yeah.
I don't think Banner was like in it at all.
Yeah, he was in it at the start, and then he was in it when he went to go get the time stone, and that was the only 2 times. But then again, I think this was better than the way that Ragnarok went about it, because like when he was Hulk for like a long time in Ragnarok, it started to get annoying because he's not talking normally; he's talking like Hulk.
Yeah.
Which, like, I mean, Smart Hulk's a thing from the comics, but it was also cool that they actually did it that way because it'd be less annoying and kind of like bothering you.
And then Hawkeye turning into Ronin.
Yeah, because he's like...
Yeah, his family was dusted.
Insane.
He's lost it. And he's going around killing Japanese mafia and Mexican cartels and all these bad groups. And he's just slaughtering and murdering. And he's now Ronin, and he's this dark figure with a sword instead of his bow mainly as his weapon.
Well, then there's also like some like kind of like they're not really the Avengers, but they're it's like a group that are run by Avengers, like War Machine, Captain Marvel, and Rocket, and who's Rocket with? Nebula. And they're just kind of like going around trying to like hold the galaxy together in a way, keep the peace between people, and like Black Widow's running that.
Yeah. Everyone else is kind of just gone off on their own from the original Avengers.
Like, because pretty much it's like a false security, right? Because they put all the Avengers back together. Tony like lost it, and then he left, and then all of a sudden they kind of all split off again.
And then the thing that sets it all off is Scott Lang, Ant-Man, and I was so happy to see how much of a crucial part Ant-Man played in this movie.
I mean, like,
with him not being in Infinity War at all.
this is another thing. Like, you have to watch Ant-Man and the Wasp now. I think. Like, if
Yeah, to
you
understand
didn't
it.
watch Ant-Man and the Wasp, you would have been more lost than the average person.
But he comes back, and the most awesome and insane
Yeah.
part to me is that he was lost in the quantum realm that entire time.
Yeah.
For him, it felt like 5 hours, and he perceived it, and his body felt like it was 5 hours, but it was actually
Whole world,
5 years.
Yeah.
So he comes out, realizes that everyone thinks he's been dead, he's dusted. His daughter's 5 years older. And he goes to the Avengers, and the Avengers are confused. They're like, is this an old message?
Yeah,
I thought he
they're
was
like,
dusted.
I thought he was
We
dead,
thought he
yeah.
were dead. But he shows up with the van and the quantum realm and proposes this idea of time travel
Or
to
the
the
time
Avengers.
heist, as they refer to it in the movie.
Yeah, as Paul Rudd, as Scott Lang, as Ant-Man refers to it. And they try to bring it to Tony Stark because Tony Stark would be the one that understands it the most. And he turns them away and says no at first.
Yeah.
But then he experiments with the navigation system for the quantum realm.
Yeah.
And it's a success for the model being built. And it just, boom, the movie
Yeah.
just goes like a bullet train from that
Yeah.
point on. And it just keeps going and getting exciting and everything.
So something that I just thought about is like the involvement of Tony Stark's daughter in the movie was very interesting. Because like we can pretty much say now Tony Stark died, right? So
Yeah.
not only does like she introduce like a different side of Tony Stark that you don't see very often, but she helps make his death more impactful. Because she's like left without her dad, which was kind of the whole reason why he wasn't going to do it.
Yeah.
But then I'm just thought about what would happen if like Phase 4, Phase 5, Tony Stark's daughter is now like the new Iron Man.
I think they were leaving it up to Pepper Potts though.
Yeah.
She was going to be the Iron Woman, right?
Yeah, but then what happens if like Pepper hands it down to her?
That would be interesting. It would be like a Wolverine, like Logan situation.
Yeah.
How there was the new young, like, girl Wolverine
yeah.
type thing. Which was interesting, and I don't know if X-Men is ever gonna go further with that.
I think they're making a second Logan movie.
They are?
Yeah.
They're making a second Logan movie without Logan? It's kinda... Why? What?
Yeah,
They could have renamed it.
Yeah, they could have, but...
So from that, obviously, the time idea, and through the time travel and the quantum realm, they all have suits, but Ant-Man has a limited amount of Pym particles because Hank Pym isn't alive, so they only have enough to go there and come back. And this is a great, like, fan service moment for the fans.
Yeah.
And this is like the Russo brothers being like, fans, we got you.
Yeah.
We know what you want.
And it also helps pull the whole universe together in one movie.
Because with the time, they plan out where all the stones are back in time.
Yeah.
And it's in the past movies.
Yeah.
One, Rocket, Nebula, or sorry,
it's Rocket and Thor.
Rocket
go
and
to
Thor.
Thor 2, the timeline. Nebula, War Machine, Nebula. War
Black
Machine,
Widow and Hawkeye.
Hawkeye go to
Guardians
starting
1.
Guardians 1. And then the rest of them.
Captain America, Iron Man, and
Hulk
no,
and Ant-Man.
no, Hulk didn't go with them.
Hulk goes to New York with them, but then he goes to the Sorcerer's place, and the rest of them try to get the Tesseract.
Oh yes, that's right. And yeah, Ant-Man.
Yeah.
Also one.
And they both go to New York because they realize that there's 3 stones. in
Yes,
New York
there's
all at the
3
same time.
stones in New York at the start of, or at the end of
End
Avengers 1.
the first Avengers. Which, if you're a diehard Avengers fan, as soon as it came up on the screen, New York 2012, you were like, that's the Avengers right there. And they did a really good job mixing, like, the older footage with the newer footage. Like, they looked I don't know if they shot like the other footage at the same time. I don't think they did, but they looked like they were like at the same time.
Just the nostalgia of all that, and like giving that to the fans, the Russo brothers, thinking about that and going back to all the past Marvel movies was just so well done and so good. And this is where we come along our first real character death, because as we all know, Black Widow and Hawkeye are going to get the Soul Stone.
Yeah.
And to get a Soul Stone, you have to give up something you love, aka a soul, a person. So it's like this little battle between
it's
Clint
a battle,
Barton and Black Widow.
It's a battle where they're gonna kill each other because the person won't kill themselves.
Yeah.
Which is kind of funny.
Or well, they don't want the other person to kill themselves.
Yeah. And in the end of that, Black Widow ends up dying, taking her.
She wins the fight to kill herself.
To get the Soul Stone, which is, I mean, it also helped connect the movies. Especially, I really like the reprise of the same song that they played in Infinity War when Gamora got thrown off was the song that they played in Endgame when they threw Black Widow off. So it was kind of a nice uniting moment, but it was definitely the first death, which was setting the stage for what was coming up. Which
only halfway through the movie, and they had already killed off one of the original Avengers, which was not setting up for good news.
Good news
for us
coming in the future. Which is, I guess, another thing I could say is like the one thing that I thought about in this movie, and no matter what, and it's basically a thing in life, like you knew they were gonna kill people, but you still like mentally weren't prepared for it. Like you're like, Tony Stark's gonna die, but then once you felt it and saw it, it completely changed your opinion on what was happening and like what the movie was. That kind of switch, and which is very good. Like with the movie was very good because it would kind of put you in this spot where you're like, okay, we're safe, we're done, and then all of a sudden, boom, Thanos is back killing people. Like when they reversed the snap and everybody was safe, and then all of a sudden Thanos just blows up.
Obliterates it.
Yeah, and it's like another point where they've pushed you into this point of like false safety, but really you're not there.
And I like how they gave the first snap to the Hulk, because that was like who's gonna do the first snap? Who's gonna be the one to snap it back? So they had this really cool gauntlet that was made out of nanotech that refits itself to the wearer, so any Avenger could have wielded it. So Hulk puts it on and does the first snap, and his arm like sets on fire or something, and it like burns up, and it like shrinks. Like the immense pressure and power of bringing all those people back was so much, and then as Wade said, they just obliterated by the.
There's like a few seconds of false hope, like where Hawkeye's phone rings and they're like, the birds are back, and then it's like, and then you're like, oh, okay, cool. Because once again with time, the Nebula lost her.
Well, no, the old Nebula was connected to the new Nebula when she went back in time.
The old Nebula came back, which caused them to.
The old Nebula came back, went to the machine, and
brought Thanos
opened it up for Thanos' ship.
Yeah, which is another thing that we didn't really talk about yet is the effects of using all 6 stones, which we talked about in our like video about conspiracy theories and that. When like you snap, the effect of like using all those 6 stones almost kills you. Like Thanos, his whole arm was
does
like
kill
burned.
a mere mortal trying to use the Infinity Stones. The only people that can survive are like stronger because of unnatural forces. Hulk because of his gamma radiation, Thanos because he's just Thanos, and even Star-Lord
too. He's not.
Yes, that's true. And even Star-Lord, when you thought he was just a human in Guardians 1, but actually he had the powers of a Celestial, a half Celestial. So that's how he was able to wield the Power Stone.
Yeah. But it's like Thanos, like even he was all burnt like before they killed him. He was like super weak.
Well, that's when he used the Infinity Stones to destroy them. Yeah.
Which caused him to be weakened by the stones a lot.
Farmer Thanos was getting tired.
Farmer
and old.
Thanos was hilarious. You're like, and you go from this movie where he's like an evil villain, and now he's just like picking my apples and like eating an apple. He was like cooking something with like spices or something.
Yeah.
Like you almost felt bad for him when he was just like, you know, living.
No, he just blew up and killed. He just.
But you were like, Bud's living a chill life. He's cooking with spices. And then you just, who do you think you are? You break into his house, you chop his head off, and then you just leave.
And then you cook up his head for dinner.
Yeah, you made a bit of a mess.
You cook up some testicle chin stew.
Testicle chin stew.
And that was the most hype. Sorry, back to obviously.
Yeah, back to what we're at.
After everyone's getting out of the rubble and the destruction and Thanos' army initially attacking, there was like Iron Man, Captain America, and Thor all standing there fighting off Thanos. And Thanos fought off Iron Man, fought off Thor, and Captain America's shield was like broken in half, and he was standing up to be the only one to face Thanos.
Yeah.
As all you see is
Doctor
Strange.
All you hear first is, "Hey Cap, and then he's like, "What?" And then he goes, "On your left," and then you see the circle.
Yeah, sorry. And then all you see is all of the sling ring portals opening and Ibombe!
Yeah,
Ibombe!
And then like you see like all like the people with their like all the like there's like more than just
Doctor Strange and Wong,
I think. And then there's like all Black Panther's back, all the Guardians come back. Well, cause pretty much everybody was on Wakanda. They were already together.
Yeah.
Other than the rest of the sorcerers.
Yeah.
So then it's like, and then another thing that happened that I thought was cool before that was the Hawkeye versus those like weird dog things.
Yes.
Like when he was like sticking the arrows and then he like detonated them all at the same time. And then this is also where you see the scene where Nebula kills
herself.
Nebula
from the
kills
past.
herself from the past.
And you see that it truly is like time isn't set and affecting something in the past isn't going to change.
Yeah.
It doesn't change your future or it doesn't change your past, but changing that past sets it off to a different future, creating a different reality.
Yeah.
So.
Which was kind of explained by when the Ancient One
talked
about taking
to the Hulk.
Infinity Stones out, changing different realities. And then after that, then you get the ultimate group shot. The group shot of like all of Thanos' evils versus all of...
And literally, it's everyone.
Yeah, it's everyone.
Like, everyone is there.
Like, because in Infinity War, they had it split into two different battles that were happening at the same time. The one on Titan and the one on Wakanda. But now it's everyone there on the Avengers headquarters.
And if you thought Infinity War was the movie where all the Avengers assemble, it was Endgame. And even Cap, before the fight starts, he lets out the famous line. He's just, Avengers, assemble.
And then the noise that the audience made after everybody said that.
Everyone went
was
insane.
Like insane. Almost as loud as when Spider-Man came back. When Spider-Man came back to the sling ring, everybody was like...
Well, yeah, because his death was
the worst
painful.
one.
It was the most emotional. Because there was that Tony Stark father figure to Tom Holland, basically. Sorry, to Tom Holland's Peter Parker.
Yeah, and Tom Holland's Peter Parker. Like, Peter Parker, you know, Broski's got some sad things in his life. Like, he lost both of his parents, then he had Uncle Ben and Aunt May, and then Uncle Ben died too. So now he's only got, like, one of his second set of parents. And now he's lost both of his parents, Uncle Ben, and Tony Stark, who is like his new father figure. So I feel like they're gonna do something really interesting with him and Happy coming up in the future.
I really am interested to see Spider-Man 2. Like,
Yeah.
Spider-Man, what is it? Far From Home?
Yeah.
And how
Maybe we gotta go see that one
how
opening weekend.
impactful that is on Peter Parker and his
you
character.
Yeah, you see him at the end of the movie when he's at school and
Yeah.
his character's changed.
Well, not at school. I think he's at the hotel for the school
For
trip.
the school trip, yeah.
Well, it also it does show him walking back into high school, but then it shows him walks into the hotel and he's not happy. He's depressed, thinking back
He's like
to
sad.
Tony Stark's death, and that's the thing. Like we said, the first snap was Hulk, but Thanos is fighting for the glove in this massive battle. They're trying to get the glove to the quantum portal, but then Thanos is about to put it on, and another second best moment in the movie. Doctor Strange, earlier on, when Doctor Strange comes back, Tony asks him, Doc, you said there was only one chance we won in the 14,605 different things you saw. Is this the one? And he says, I can't tell you if this is it, because then it won't be it.
Yeah.
So later on, when Thanos is about to put on the glove, Stark looks at Strange, and Strange just holds up that index finger and saying, "This is the one." And something flicks on in Tony's brain. He's like, "I need to do this. It's go time." And he runs up to Thanos, and he doesn't even take off the glove. It's like he puts the back of his hand over the glove,
like all the stones
and the
stick.
stones like transfer to it. So Thanos is trying to snap, and just as he goes for the snap, he realizes none of the stones.
Before he snaps, he mutters the line, "I am
inevitable." Ah, yes.
And then he's got the stones on his gauntlet, and then you look over and the stones like rearrange, and then he goes, "I am Iron Man," and then he nails that snap.
And you watch as everyone in the crowd and all of the characters on screen as well are so relieved, and it's over, and Tony Stark just dusted all of Thanos' army. But as we said before, not a mere mortal can't withstand the power of the Infinity Stones. So you watch as Tony falls to the ground, and he's just out of it. He's absent-minded. He's blank. He's just staring off blankly, and he can't even respond until like Pepper runs over to him and is like, Tony, it's gonna be okay. You can rest now.
Well, and then once again, like Iron Man Spider-Man always makes like the Tony scene so much sadder. Like when Iron Man came over and he was like, or Spider-Man came over and he was like, Mr. Stark. That just made that scene like so much more sad, which was needed because like, you know, it's the last movie with Iron Man. Iron Man's not coming back no more. And I thought it was really well done.
I thought Iron Man's death couldn't have been better.
Yeah,
I thought the man that started off the MCU was the one to end off this saga and make that sacrifice. It wasn't just like they killed him or threw away his life. Same with Black Widow. Black Widow sacrificed herself to save the rest of everyone else to get the Soul Stone. Iron Man, or Tony Stark, sacrificed himself to stop the inevitable Thanos snap from happening a second time.
And they're both pretty, like, Natasha was introduced in the second Iron Man movie. They're both OG people, and it was kind of interesting the way that they did it. Especially because I couldn't see them killing Hawkeye over them, because I was like, well, Hawkeye's like got a whole family, and that was kind of like his whole character arc right now. So if they killed him, they're just like, oh, he's not going back to his family. And I'd be like, well, that's a stupid
he's
character.
Got a TV show coming up
apparently.
On Disney streaming service.
Disney Plus.
After Tony Stark's death and after you saw him blank, absent-minded, the theater went from this super excited, super hyped
screaming,
feeling,
cheering
of the battle to just silence, and you couldn't hear anything. It was just complete silence.
And then the one scene that was shot beautifully, as a person who likes to film and stuff, I thought the scene with Tony's
Hologram?
wreath. No, when they put his wreath in the
You mean
lake.
his like heart, his reactor
Yeah,
core
his heart,
thing?
but like
That
in
was
the
like
wreath.
Tony's proof that Tony Stark has a heart.
Yeah. And then the camera shot moved in one fluent angle through each grouping of people that Iron Man affected, not only in the MCU, like through these movies, but also only had Tony affected these people through the universe, through the fact that Tony Stark, the character, had affected the people, but Robert
And I
Downey,
think what you're saying is on screen, and
yeah.
in the world, but also
Robert Downey Jr. as a person affected the universe in such a different way because he started this whole thing with his Iron Man movie. And it was also really interesting to see Happy there because Jon Favreau, who plays Happy, directed the first Iron Man movie, so he's like, they always call him Grandpa Marvel because he's like the grandpa of the MCU, and it was really interesting to see his character, especially because when he has that scene with Tony's daughter where he's like,
and he's like, hey, what do you want?
yeah,
And she's like, cheeseburgers.
and then he's like, your dad loves cheeseburgers. And then he's like, I'm going to get you all the cheeseburgers you want, which makes you start to think that maybe Happy's going to become a more father figure to her, which also helps make me think, especially because Happy has a bigger role in Far From Home, that Happy might become more of a father figure to Spider-Man too. Not only as there's the joke from Far From Home when like between Happy and Aunt May dating or something like that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, where they're like, he's like, what just happened? Yeah.
But also, I can't believe we forgot.
we totally
completely
skipped over that.
glazed over this. But as hinted in the first Avengers, or was it? No, it was Ultron.
Age of Ultron, yeah.
In Age of Ultron, when they're all sitting around trying to pick up Thor's hammer, Captain America goes and it budges, and you see Thor's eyes, and he's like,
Yeah.
what?
And then he starts like pretending that his hand
Yeah,
is slipping.
exactly. He pretends that he can't pick it up when actually he can. And in the battle, Thor whips his hammer, Thanos deflects it, and Captain America catches
it.
Mjolnir.
And then Thor's like, I knew it!
Yeah, he's like, I knew you were worthy.
Yeah.
And it's just the next part in the battle scene and in the war or this massive fight. It's just Thor and Captain America whipping the hammer at someone, and then the other one catching it, and then whipping it. And there's this funny comedic scene where Captain America catches Stormbreaker and Thor catches Mjolnir, and he's like, no, I want Stormbreaker. I want my new weapon. I want my new toy back.
Yeah.
And they swap.
And also, like, not only can Captain America is worthy enough to hold, like, Mjolnir, but Mjolnir also had the lightning in it, too. Like, when Cap was throwing it, it was, like, lightningified or, like, electrified by... Because Thor had already electrified them, like, earlier. Which is kind of part of the Stormbreaker thing. But it was also really nice to see Thor's hammer come back.
Yes.
Especially because if he's not going to be using it anymore... It was really nice to see that he was going to use it in the last movie. Again, closing story arcs throughout the movie.
And then I guess that really brings us to our last death.
Yeah.
So Hulk, Falcon, Bucky, and Cap are all in the forest at this smaller quantum realm machine that they built after the first one was destroyed.
Yeah, and it's like right beside where the
battle was.
Right beside where the Avengers headquarters used to be.
And they're sending off Cap, and they're like, you need to go back and get the Infinity Stones and put them back in their place.
Yeah.
And Hulk's like, for him it'll be as long as he needs, but for us it'll be 5 seconds. And he goes, he returns the Infinity Stones, or at least that's what we can infer.
Yeah.
And then after the 5 seconds, they're waiting for him to come back through the portal, and he doesn't. And as they look over and the camera pans over to their right, you see an older man sitting at a bench at the edge of the water, at the edge of the lake. And as Falcon walks over, you realize that it's Captain America as an older man. Like, that he went back in time and he lived out. Like, over the course of Endgame, you can see how much it hurts him and pains him to live with being frozen and taken away from the love of his life and losing that life.
They also infer that in the actual scene with like the focus group, which actually Joe Russo was in that scene, which I thought was really cool. But when Cap talks about, everybody's talking about how they've lost people and they feel like they're like losing years off their life, and he was like, well, I went in the ice and I lost 40 years off my life, and I had to come back and I'd start all new in a completely different time, and it flipped me upside down.
But this is like a beautiful moment where Cap got to go back. He learned from Tony. He learned from, was it Ultron that told him that, like, I don't know who told...
Tony told him to live a little. That's what Tony
Yeah,
told
to live a little, but I think it was also a villain that told Captain America that he's... Like, I don't know, there was something, I think it was Ultron that told him a message that all he's gonna do is keep fighting and this endless battle and war and this endless fight for Captain America.
It either sounds like Ultron or Thanos. I don't know.
And he finally took all that information and all that advice, and he lived the life he deserved to live. He went back and he lived his life with Agent Carter. Agent Carter? No. Yes,
so.
Agent Carter. And with the love of his life. And he came back, and obviously he's not dead, but he's retiring as an Avenger, and who knows if he probably won't come back in another movie.
Well, you know, it's nice to see that they didn't kill off all the Avengers, because if there's a few of them that aren't killed off, you know, there's a chance that they can come back for a cameo or something like that in a movie. But you know, eventually things need to come to an end, and this is what Star Wars needs to learn. Is like the old characters, you know, you can't use them too much. You know, they can come back for a movie or stuff, but when things come to an end, especially like this one, it's such a beautiful ending, and it wraps up Cap's story arc for the last like 22 movies perfectly. Yeah. And this thing that's been like hurting him ever since his first movie is finally fixed and completed.
And he also like passes on the torch to Sam, to Falcon, and gives him the shield to become the new Captain America.
Yeah. Which is also really cool. I just realized, so when Tony Stark died, he was the first person that landed in front of him, which is basically like kind of like the same, like they're really, really good friends. Him and what's War Machine's name? Rhodey, yeah. And then same thing with Captain America. Captain America is sitting there on that bench, and the first person that comes up is Falcon, and he was really good friends with Falcon too. Not Bucky, but you know,
Bucky was there.
Yeah, Bucky was there, but Falcon went up. I thought that was just an interesting kind of homage.
And it hurt a little bit, and yesterday, just like, I was so disappointed and depressed that 3 of the 6 original Avengers they got rid of, but really, they did it so well, you can't be upset with it. You can't be angry with it.
Another thing to talk about is Thor. Thor's going on with the Guardians now.
Well, yeah. Thor's joining up with the Guardians, and hopefully, I'm so excited to see him in Guardians 3.
Yeah.
That's going to be so exciting.
Well, and now it makes sense when they're talking about, James Gunn teased that Guardian 3 was going to be about Gamora, and basically like about Gamora and learning about Gamora, which now makes sense because pretty much her plotline has been reset. Yeah. But everybody else hasn't. So they have to find Gamora, but then they also have to like, you know, do two movies worth of character development in one. Or actually, it would be 3 movies because you hope that she would end. After like the second.
Well, I don't think you're ever gonna get back the future Gamora to her full glory as she was.
Yeah, she's gonna be changed.
Who knows if she'll even like still have that romance with Peter Quill with Star-Lord anymore? But that's exciting to look at and to think about. And like you said, like it's the past Gamora, so she doesn't have any memories or anything of the future. That's the only reason she's alive.
She has Nebula to tell her about things.
And I mean, also another conclusion to look at and to think about is who's gonna step up to the plate, who's gonna lead the Avengers now, because Cap was the original leader, and then Tony Stark took over for a bit when Cap became like a criminal, and Tony Stark is like the godfather of like the MCU, or the father, and he started off.
All
so
the movies.
Both of them being gone, who's gonna
take over?
continue? Who's gonna pick up the torch? And at Tony Stark's like funeral, the last person that pans to is Captain Marvel sitting on the porch. So I don't know if that's a little bit of foreshadow that Captain Marvel is going to be the head of the Avengers.
Behind her too, which is kind of like when Nick Fury came and told people, came and invited people to be part of the Avengers. But it's definitely, it's kind of that's the other thing, is the destroying of the Avengers headquarters is also kind of symbolic of the ending of one type of Avengers and the starting of a different one. Especially throughout the.
But who do you think? Do you think it's gonna be Captain Marvel?
I feel like it would be Captain Marvel and Falcon right now.
Captain Marvel and Falcon?
Or Falcon and War Machine. Because War Machine's pretty much Iron Man.
Well, I don't think they're gonna do that. I think that's a little too cheesy. Having the new Captain America or replacement Iron Man take over. I feel like Captain Marvel.
I can't see War Machine taking over, because War Machine's always been kind of like a secondary. There's specific characters that work better as a secondary character, such as Ant-Man. Ant-Man is so much funnier and better of a character when he's in an Avengers movie than when he's in his standalone movie by himself. Because he's just, I don't know, he just works that way. His chemistry just works off people better than when he's just by himself.
That's also just Paul Rudd. He's very charismatic, and he's he gets along with people very easily, and he tries to be a very funny guy and cracks jokes and stuff like that.
One thing I'd like to talk about is then the movie ends. There's a really nice scene between Scarlet Witch and what do you call it? Clint or Hawkeye
or Ronan
when they talk, or Ronan, whatever the hell his name is, when they talk about what do they think the Avengers think that died, and do you think that they know that we did it? Do you think that Natasha and Vision, and do you think they know that we won? We did, and they're oh yeah, they know. But then as soon as the movie ends, you get the regular directed by Joe Anthony Russo and all that stuff. But then they did this ultimate tribute, which is basically the mid-credit scene, when they go through every single character that's been in an MCU movie, and they show cool clips of them. And then you get to the best ones, when they get to the original 6, and they actually show clips from all different movies, not just Endgame, and then they show their signature and their name with a cool silhouette of their character. And I thought that was a really good ending tribute to those characters. And not to the characters, but to the actors. Because there's been 11 years of their lives working on this, and it's
22 movies.
Yeah. It's gotta give them some homage, some support for what they did.
Homage?
Homage.
Homage.
I think it's a word.
No, it's homage. It's not homage.
Hey Siri, what's homage? What's homage?
It's the same word. You just said it wrong. It's not homage. It's homage. They did an homage. I don't even remember what you were trying to say. The homage.
I was saying the homage.
It's you're saying the Amish. The Amish. The homage.
And I said they paid good homage to the characters. To the actors.
Do you have anything else to say? I have one last thing.
Sure, you can do his last thing. We might, I don't know if we're gonna do it or not. We have it on the calendar. We might do a Marvel News video tomorrow. We might, but probably not.
Tomorrow?
Because it's
You mean Monday?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because it's gonna be like spoilers.
Marvel News?
Yeah. Like what's next for the MCU? Our predictions of what's
okay.
next.
Well, just the one last thing to end off this review, I
Yeah.
would say is, what would you rate the movie?
10 out of 10.
See,
I gotta say, as I said before at the start, it's a cinematic event of the century. You have to go see it in the theater. And it's like, you know, it's literally years in the making. Like,
yeah.
They could not make this movie without the other movies. And the
It
specific...
was 11 years of build-up.
Yeah. The homage, the tie-ins, lines that were said in this movie that were like quoting from other, like from the first Avengers movie, which like now the first Avengers movie's almost like 7 years ago that first movie came out. So it's like, it's a really good tie-in, and I think it's a must-see. Must-see.
See, yesterday, at the end of the movie, I think I was a little biased, a little distraught, because they just killed off, like, Tony Stark, man. They killed off Black Widow too, and they killed off Cap, made him retire. But looking at how beautiful those like the two sacrifices from Iron Man and Black Widow, and Captain America taking that life that he deserved and making it a reality, and just how beautiful those moments are. Like, it's not a 9.5. That it's a 10 out of 10 movie. It's an amazing movie. It's like a cinematic masterpiece.
Yes. And like when I said that it was 10 out of 10, my sister was like, oh, so is it like our generation's Empire Strikes Back, right? Because Empire Strikes Back, when you find out that like Luke is his father. But like, I think it's better than that. The Empire Strikes Back is the second movie in a 3-movie trilogy. This is the 22nd movie and an 11-year, or in a 22nd movie in a 11-year trilogy.
No, it's trilogy is 3.
11-year
arc saga.
11-year 22-gy of movies.
Just 11 years worth of movies
Yeah.
building up to this point.
22-gy though. That's pretty
22-gy.
So yeah. Thank you guys for watching this review. Go see Endgame. Go see it. And I don't even know why I'm saying that, because if you're still watching at this point, I feel like you already saw it.
Yeah.
So
we gotta name the title.
Go see it again.
The title's gotta be like
no spoilers / spoilers.
No, the title's gotta be like, you must see Endgame.
Yeah.
What are you doing with your life if you don't see Endgame, or something like that.
So thank you guys for watching. Please like this video if you liked it. You know, this took a lot of time and effort to make.
Comment down below.
Yeah, what's
your thoughts, your hypothesis.
And if we see a whole bunch of good comments, maybe we'll do like a follow-up video.
Also, do you want to give them like a secret code or secret phrase if they made it to the very end of the video?
Oh yeah, so if you guys made it to the very end of the video, comment down below.
Thanos has a ballsack chin.
Sure, do it. Thank you guys for watching this video. Like, comment, subscribe, and we will see you in the next video. Because we are not in the end game. We make videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday.
It's true.
It's true, yeah. And we don't die either.
I mean, you don't know that. Watch out for the next Thanos snap. We could.
Oh, the Hulk dab! And the Fortnite.
Thank you guys for watching WBTV. If you want to see more Let's Talk with Wayne and Blake, click the video at the top. Also click below to get subscribed, and check the link in the description for the stuff we featured in this video. Hope to check out the skits on Wednesday.